welcome to the Business of You podcast, the show dedicated to helping service entrepreneurs build a better brand to grow a bigger business. I'm your host, Michelle Griffin, and I'm here each week empowering you to put yourself out there, sharing actionable tips and inspiring stories so you can create your personal brand, grow your dream business, and build your future, all while making more income and more impact doing exactly what you love. I'm super excited you're here. Now let's get going with today's show. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Michelle Griffin of the Business of You podcast. Today we're in for a special treat. Today we're going to talk all about your professional image and how it really impacts your professional personal brand. Here's the thing. Did you know your professional image is actually currency? And when you ignore it, you might be leaving money on the table. Seriously. Well, today I want to welcome Tavia Sharp. She's an image consultant, speaker coach, and men's style expert. She helps you leverage your image as a tool to get promotable and investable in your business and beyond. Welcome, Tavia, to the show. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me here today, Michelle.
I am super excited. I have not ever interviewed and talked with someone who does this. It's so aligned with what I do, what our audience is, and who they are. Looking your best says everything. First impressions are everything. Why do you do what you do, and why is image so important to men in particular, who I know you work with? Why is that so important?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Really, your image is so impactful. I think sometimes we don't realize the power that it communicates. It's that nonverbal communication. And once it's actually aligned with the words that you speak and everything that you're about, right? Your personal brand, you're just taking it to a whole nother level. It helps you stand out. It helps you magnetize opportunities. So, my background is working in the fashion industry. And so just my whole journey to how I even became a fashion designer and now an image consultant, learning how your image and this is really your tool. It's a tool in your toolkit. And I'm really passionate about helping men because it's really my background. I was a menswear designer. I worked for Calvin Klein and Macy's and Nautica, and I worked in the men's fashion world for 15 years before I started my business. And so, it's something that I'm passionate about teaching because I feel like a lot of men are underserved in my world, my industry. A lot of people that do what I do like to serve women, and I think that's really important. But at the same time, men want to learn these tools too. How do you use image, as you said, as a tool to get promotable, investable, relatable, and really magnetize opportunities in your business and beyond?
Oh, that's so good. You're so right, though. There is a huge emphasis on women, and I'm a huge supporter, but I don't see as many men stylists as you do. And so that's a great point because maybe that's something men don't feel like maybe that's something they can talk about or comfortable. And it's interesting that you pick men and you're a female. So how is that relatable? Do you feel like that's more welcoming to them and they're more acceptable of having a woman help them with their image and style?
Yeah, I think so, because not only is it my background, but also I feel it's helpful to get that female perspective. And I create a fun way of working together. So it's really not me, criticizing or saying there's anything wrong, because sometimes this is a little bit of a touchy subject. When we think about image, it's very personal.
Yeah.
And we don't want to feel like we're offending someone by saying, "Ooh, you're not really dressing well," or "You're not really showing your best self." So I really try to make it really comfortable and put people at ease because I want you to understand that it is your personal brand. It's about you. And so you really want to think about how are you putting your best foot forward. I think men really like that they can get that female perspective as well.
Okay, well, I love that. And hearing all the good things you do, what are some ways they can get started? Or what are the first things they should recognize if they're immediately trying to make a change for their image after maybe hearing you here today?
I mean, the first thing is that you want to think about your goals. You want to think about where are you at now, whatever you do, your position, or if you're a business owner, how are you creating what's next in your business? And how is your image a match for that? The way I approach it with clients, it's really about having an image that matches for what's next. because
Okay.
really powerful when you start showing up as that next level, is that's when
Mhm.
you start to actually have opportunities show up for you. And
Oh, that's
when you try to not look like everybody else, and I think men tend to fall into this trap a little bit, we'll call it, because men don't have a lot of options as far as, let's talk about clothing. Then I think what happens is they fall into the trap of, oh well, I should just put on a suit jacket, but it just looks like everybody else's suit jacket, or I just need to wear a white button down shirt that looks professional, but you just end up looking like everybody else. And my approach is like, try to add your personality, try to be unique and different. This is you, it's an extension of you, and it's a part of your brand. So, and I know we're going to get more into that a little bit more, but just the idea of like dressing for what's next versus where you're at now is really, really key to actually get some momentum going and actually improve and hit those goals faster.
with first impressions being everything, you want to have that first impression of success, even if you may not feel 100% there or you're aspiring to something greater. So, dress for what's next. Such an important tip. We're going to be putting all these detailed nuggets and goodness in the show notes, along with your great ideas coming up in a minute. This is great. So, tell me if that's where you need to start getting positioned for what's next, align with your goals. If people aren't doing that, what are some of the problems that you're seeing if someone's just being whatever, shows up to whatever pulls out of their closet? I mean, what are some of the problems if you're not addressing your image? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, the first thing is that you don't really stand out and you end up looking like just everybody else. And what happens is you're just making it harder for yourself to actually have these opportunities come your way. I see this happen a lot, whereas you're doing a lot more things to make things happen, right? To have new opportunities come your way, to get momentum in your business. And the way I teach it is that when you start showing up as this person who stands out, who really is the face of their brand, they look unique, everything about them is consistent, from when somebody Googles you to your social media profiles to the way you show up on video, your photographs. When you actually stand out, opportunities come to you, and you actually can have a lot more of that magnetizing results happen. And so I think you're making it harder for yourself by not doing it. And blending in is, personally, I'll just be honest, the people that I speak to, the people that I work with, they don't want to blend in. They don't want to look like everybody else. That's the question I ask. They all want to stand out. So your image is literally the way to do that.
Okay, I love that. What are some of the real tactical things you see the mistakes men are making when they're blending in? I know we've addressed it, but are they wearing just t-shirts when they should be wearing a more polished look? Are they just not color coordinated? What are some of the things that are real simple that we could start? Is it finding your brand color? What do you suggest?
All of what you said. Definitely, when I approach your image and how it actually is also representing your personal brand, you want to think about what styles, what colors, what about your fit. Are you actually thinking about these things in your personal style? A lot of men tend to, number one, just look like everybody else. They all wear the same thing. And number two, a lot of men go extreme. They either overdress or underdress. It's the middle area that I think it's just kind of confusing. Like, what should I wear? If I'm going to look out of place because I'm wearing a suit on Zoom, then I'm just going to go the opposite way and wear a t-shirt or a hoodie. And maybe that's comfortable and you kind of fitting in with everybody, but how does that help you stand out? So I think it's that middle area that men get confused with. Number one. And also, it's the grooming. I think a lot of times I see men not well groomed and thinking that they can just let it go a little bit because now we're working virtually and on Zoom. But to be honest, if I'm meeting with somebody and I look them up on LinkedIn and they look like a completely different person when they get on Zoom, that is very distracting. And also, I can't really pay attention to them fully. There is something that feels off, that connection. So that's another mistake. And also, men tend to shy away from color. And honestly, you do want to think about color as a tool to stand out. And yeah, I like what you said. It's a part of your brand. How can you incorporate color into your wardrobe where it's also a part of your branding? Like, you literally are the walking billboard. So you get to play with your style and have fun with it and also make it congruent with your brand.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's why I wear yellow. Yellow is my brand color, and I try to wear it when I'm on camera or video. So I agree. And people, they really, after a couple month or two, when you're consistent, people just started associating me with yellow and that. So it just helps and it's fun and it's easy. So you can wear yellow a lot and makes it easier. Well, that brings me to my next question. Our audience, and this is for men and women too. I know you're predominantly working with men, but these tips are perfect for everyone. My question that I'm thinking might come to mind, well, goodness, if I'm going to have to look the part to stand out for the next level, is this going to cost me entire year's salary? Well, how do you work the different? I'm sure you have different price points and things. Do you actually go shop with your clients, or do you give them like, Pinterest boards to go look or links? What do you suggest? Do you have price points to get out there on different levels for?
Yeah. I mean, I always start with, I call it a style blueprint and also a personal brand blueprint. So I always start there because it's important for you to have a guide. What are your brand goals? Where do you need to be going that you need to look the part, dress the part, show up as your brand? Whether that's in person or online or on your social media channels. What are the styles? What are the colors? What is your fit? What are the brands that work best for you? All of that goes in the guide. We always start there. Of course, there's a Pinterest board because it helps to get that style vision clear. So that's number one. And then once you got that down, you have something to reference. We have something to work with. And then I will look at their closet. So we review their wardrobe. What do they have currently? Is there anything in there that we could be using? I call that like digging for the treasure because a lot of people have good stuff in their closet they're not utilizing. And then we go shopping. I do it virtually or in person. I have a service where I can meet you in New York City and we do a shopping day together, also a grooming appointment. And so really you're getting styled top to toe. They get the digital lookbook. I have a styling app that I send them, they can access. And yeah, it's different price points depending on the need. But my goal is always to first start with what you have and let's find the gaps. It's not about buying a bunch of stuff. It's not spending a ton of money. I can work with different budgets, but what are the key pieces that you're missing? And let's shop for those. And also, my goal is that every item we buy, we can at least style it 3 ways. You really maximize your clothing that way. Instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to have this one item, I can wear it one time. That's not really helpful. We want to really use our clothing as the tool and how can we maximize and get the best use out of them.
Oh, that's perfect. So that's great advice again for men and women. So
Mhm.
I'm a big believer in quality versus quantity myself. So thank you for that. So these are all such great nuggets of information and things I haven't really thought about or made my audience deeper than the color. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. And as part of the show, because we want to have actionable and achievable advice and from subject matter experts like yourself, I always ask my guests, what are the 3 tips, the 3 action steps to make that first impression with your visual identity? So, do you have some to share with us today?
Number one, we talked about ensure that your image is congruent with your personal, social, and your professional roles and goals. So think about your image and how you're showing up now versus where you want to be in 6 months to a year or beyond. But 6 months to a year is a perfect goal setting. When you think about that, how are you looking? How are you showing up? How are you dressing? What does that look like? And start dressing for that. When you step into that, you start to magnetize new opportunities. And number two is really utilizing your clothing as a tool. This is a tool for you to communicate how you want to be perceived and really command that credibility, that trust. When you look the part, people associate you with whatever you say, the words that you're speaking. It's a match and it creates that know, like, and trust factor much, much quicker. So you can actually get results faster. And that's the whole goal. So use that clothing as a tool. And then number three is invest in power pieces. This really helps you boost your image and your influence online and off. And power pieces is exactly what it sounds like. It's literally putting on your power. What are those pieces that you can put on to feel empowered, to feel your best, to feel your most confident self? Is it a power color? Is it an accessory? Is it a jacket? Is it something bold? Like for me, it's my lipstick. Anything else, I'm always going to wear my bold pink lipstick. Pink is my power color. So if I'm not wearing it, I'll probably have it on my makeup. So it could be lots of different things, but think about what is that thing that's really going to help you feel like, oh, wow, I'm going to put on my power item today and I'm going to feel good, because it's all about what we put on our body. It's that enclosed cognition. It affects the way we feel. We're going to put that energy out and we're going to have great results because of that. So those are my 3 tips.
Oh, those are perfect. I know you work with entrepreneurs, thought leaders, authors, speakers, and even executives in corporate C-suite. So that works for across the board and even for women. No matter what you do, what she's saying is your image is your first impression. It's your currency, and you can cash it in, to stand out, not blend in. These are amazing tips. And it's really something we need to just realize. First impressions, yes, they're important online, but when you're walking around, especially now that the world is opening up, people are going to be out there more. We're going to be looking and seeing. And I think it's even going to be greater now that we're all coming back. So a lot of us, we've been wearing just whatever on Zoom. So we really need to consider we're getting out there now. Let's get our first impression dialed in. So I appreciate all that. So today, before we end our amazing chat today, I always like to ask my guests, before we know where to find you, what would you say what's your favorite saying or mantra that you would love to share with our listeners today?
Oh, okay. The first one comes to mind, something I really stand by, is your vibe attracts your tribe. So I'm a big believer in energy and what you put out in the world, and how you show up is usually what you attract back. Because of my energy and the way that I project, I feel that positive vibe attracts positive people. And so, yeah, that's something I'd like to share.
Oh, I love that. And that goes so well with what you do. Your vibe attracts your tribe, and then they're going to get that first impression. And the way you are perceived and your look is very much in line with that. Well, that is a great saying. I'm actually collecting all these. One day I'm going to publish something, because everyone is just giving me such valuable tips and a great perspective. So thanks for that. I am sure there are people who want to know more exactly what you do. I know you have a lot of resources and
Mhm.
guides and all that. Tell us where we can find you and all your social handles.
Yeah, I mean, the best place to find me is on my website. It's styled, STYLED, sharp.com. So my last name, yes, that's my real last name, Tavia Sharp. So that's the best place, or they can find me on social media at Styled Sharp.
Well, you're so lucky. I love it when your last name works so well with your business name. You're one of those lucky ones. So great domain name. So again, it's Tavia Sharp at styledsharp.com on her website and her social. And I know you do a lot on LinkedIn, so connect with her on LinkedIn, especially. I know a lot of our listeners are LinkedIn social. We get on LinkedIn a lot, and we'll find you there. And that's actually how you and I met. So I especially imagine your target audience is there. So, Tavia, I just want to thank you for sharing your wisdom, your expertise on getting your image dialed in. So, the last parting words I want to say, everyone, listen to what she has said, and let's just realize our image is your currency. It's your personal brand. So, we definitely want to consider it, use it to our advantage so we can stand out and not blend in. So, Tavia, thanks again, and we'll be talking with you soon. And take care, everyone, and we'll catch you next time. Bye
Thanks so
bye.
much. Bye.
Bye bye. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We definitely need more impactful entrepreneurs like you out there. So if you'd like to learn more about how I can help you build your personal brand to grow your business, please check out yourbrandyourbusiness.com. And until next time, you have a brand to build, a message to share, and people to impact. Now go put yourself out there and watch the business of you grow.